Good morning, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. You hopefully you're having a good morning. It is let's see the time. It's 3:25 a.m. I'm sitting here having some pork shoulder, some rice, and some mixed vegetables. I put the one of my bowls in the pot, put a little vinegar in there, chopped a little extra, boom, and my meal is great. So I woke up this morning. I was a little sad. I made a very a burst out video, and I'm like, that's gonna go viral. I said, no, but I don't want to go viral like that, so I deleted the video. Anyway, I want to make sure we all understand something. The weather is changing for a lot of us. I was coming to my building and I saw either a baby rat or a mouse digging in the earth, getting into this building. So I already knew it. I've been monitoring the grass and things, and I've been seeing the little holes. But usually rats dig those type of holes. So I am like, mm, mm, mm. So I just opened up another box of baking soda, and I dropped it as well. So I have baking soda all over the floor, and I have this little container here, and I use a lot of baking soda, boys and girls. I put baking soda in all of my garbage cans, so I'm proactive right now. And I also have a box opened up inside of a closet because there was a smell in that closet, but the baking soda worked. I also have one in my bathroom on top of the toilet because whatever. So I use a lot of baking soda, but I I have to make sure I have baking soda on lock because my garbage bags have baking soda. I'm going to purchase bleach today to get in here and get down on some of my appliances and things because, honey, to keep rodents at bay, you have to remove the scent. That's it. They're looking for something and they coming in here. But I saw a video, picture, whatever the case may be, where they actually do come through the sockets. And I kept saying I needed to find those socket things that I had. Now I do remember, if I'm not mistaken, I might have put one of those packages out in the laundry room because there's a lot of children in the building. I'm hoping I have one for myself because I have Tina got me some tape, and I'm so thankful. These are the blessings I say that help me. I'm going to look for those socket pieces, put them in my extra sockets, and then duct tape it down. I kid you not, I do not want a mouse in here, period, because one come with like 50,000 family members. But I remember the time when my baby's crib, it was mice turds in her crib, and my baby wasn't a crybaby, but then she started, yeah, and I'm like, so that was like something for me to be alerted to because she was not a crybaby. And then when I looked in the crib, it was like, but that's why I ended up evicted because I went to the building manager in my pajamas to tell him a few things, and he made sure that the key and lock and everything was changed, and he wasn't gonna take a chance, and I don't blame him because I was going to do just what I told him I was going to do, get this under control, or it's going to be this, and that's that. But this is not that video. We need to clean up, sanitize up, and remove the traces of food in our homes. It brought me back to a time when I had a very close connection with someone. I went into her home and I told her, I said, your home is immaculate. I said, but you have an infestation in here. And she didn't understand. It was as if I was talking something and she didn't see or either. But it turns out I don't know what the hell was going on. But I said, you have an infestation in here. I was able to smell the roaches, although I couldn't see them. One thing with me, I don't like to be in nobody's house, after a certain hour in the day. People want to come home, take their clothes off, just get rested. So I started feeling a certain type of way. But then I noticed that the smell was getting a little bit too much. And then just one day, I noticed the children had look spots everywhere, 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 and the nose was running. I said, "That's not an allergy, honey. That's an infestation." And I couldn't explain it to her because I really didn't know what I was talking about. But I said, "That's not. They're not sick. You have an infestation." But I knew I was smelling roaches. I just couldn't see them. But one day I ended up staying over a little while later, and then to my amazement, she had a VCR. So little things started coming out. I'm like, what? And I'm like, and I didn't say anything because I didn't want to say anything in case she didn't know. So I remember I gotta go. So I left. Next thing you know, one thing happened after another. But I kid you not, the world goes in its own circle and things happen. But one day she was in contact with someone she wasn't supposed to be in contact with. She was on a public vehicle with something she had no business with. And then the daycare called, and the only person that was available was the person that had no rights to come near the children. So next thing you know, CPS got involved. But I was in the house, and when the meat people came in to take the children, the man took a whiff, and he said, "You have an infestation in here. I'm going to see to it that you never get your children back." My heart caved in because I was like, "What is it?" Because I couldn't believe what I witnessed. And she was sitting there. And next thing you know, we were at Home Depot getting all of these bombs to spray. And I kid you not, when we bombed, we pulled the blinds up and we stepped outside. But we didn't stop to think to seal off the front door, and a massive amount of roaches. I kid you not. If I even said a million, I'm lying. Just came flying out of the apartment, rolling down from under her front door and down to the next lady terrace downstairs. And I was in shock because of what I was seeing crawling on the kitchen window, from out of the kitchen cabinets and everything. I kid you not. But oh my God, it was horrifying. And the amount of money that she spent was horrifying for what she had to go back and spend. But I said, "Abby, did you lift the mattresses up? Did you pull the clothes out the drawers?" And oh my goodness, the amount that was under the mattress. But they ran under the mattress because there was some type of clean air under there. So when everything was over and we were sweeping, it was like mounds. And then the worst part was when we moved the refrigerator, there were like now and laters and things behind the refrigerator. I'm like, how did they get back here? And it was crazy. But she ended up losing full custody of her children, all because she was on a bus taking something somewhere that she had no business with in her purse. And then the daycare ended up calling, and I kid you not, but it reminded me that I have to be proactive in here. But I'm gonna tell you the good story. She ended up a government employee. Her children no longer had whatever that was, because it was definitely not an illness. The skin cleared up because it was actually bites and everything. So it was good. She ended up in a good way. Mm-mm. I really am. I was proud of her because I was able to see that she was in school and stuff. So it was good. Sometimes things happen. Sometimes things happen, and it is what it is. But I'm going to change my garbage cans today. I don't know what I'm going to do. Um, I have to put baking soda in more places. I don't know how long baking soda lasts to clean whatever it cleans or absorb whatever it absorbs, but I love baking soda. But I have to pick up a container of Clorox today just to make sure I get the scent of Clorox in here, because when I was living somewhere, it was a massive infestation of rats. I couldn't believe how horrified I was just to park my daggone car sometimes, and they ratted. And then some people the wires were eating up and everything. But one day I noticed that there was like maybe 20 something rats, on the street in the morning. Then the next day when I go to move the car, or whatever. So then one day I saw the owner of the house where they were just everywhere. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I just put bleach in my outside garbage cans." He said, "Every day I wake up like this." So after a while, the infestation started to go away. So I do know Clorox is a deterrent for them. I also know salt. They don't like salt on their body, so you put salt in your cabinets and things like that. I can't have that in here, even as a pass through. Now, in one of my units, I found some droppings, and then someone came into my home to go through everything. And he said, "You don't have an infestation." He said, "They're using you as a pass through to get from you to you're just access." He said, "There is no form of infestation here." I said, "I don't want access. I don't even want them to use me as the line to A to B." So what I'm going to do today is figure out who's going to seal whatever holes. Now I know the washing machine, there's a hose, and the hole is like this big, and then there's the whole hose, so those can just jump in. I don't know what's going to happen, but that's going to get taken care of. There's not even a conversation going to. It needs to be done. When it's going to be done, that's it. I'm not going to play the sandbox. That's it. In this up here with my seasoning, you can just drop. You can drop more than a few. You can drop this whole spoon in there. So when is this getting done, huh? So what I'm gonna do is figure out where I can get some steel wool from, and get it in here, and somebody's gonna get their finger and start to work in it. I sealed a lot of holes in my life. Broke up some bottles, put the glass in first, put the steel wool in, especially say if you live in the projects and you have that radiator, you break up the glass first, sweep it all in there, then you take the steel wool, you take a fork or something, you jab it in there, and then you need industrial duct tape, and you just line it around the wall. Do the square first around the pipe, and then you go around the edges, but you will never have anything come up in there. I sealed my holes when I lived in the projects, and I had never had anything after that. And then I made it a point of duty to clean outside my home on a regular basis, which means even mop in front of your house because traces of food. But I kid you not, it's quite disgusting to know that a person can just say eat a bag of potato chips and then just drop it on the ground. You are part of the problem, because what I am seeing in different communities is horrible. I arrived yesterday to where I used to live, and when I pulled up and got out to go ring the bell, I'm like, oh no. I'm talking full trays of food left in front of the house. But a couple of days ago, I was coming down the block, and I think this was a social worker. She was walking from a certain location. I had come from that location. Now they give you food every day. So you can go there, stand on the line, and you get food. And I'm talking about a hot tray, a bottle of water, and a bag of chips. So, and yes, I have been there. And I was coming from that section that same day, which was this week. And somebody said, the lady was working. She said, "Why would they leave that there?" And it was a open tray of food that someone left right there on the side of on the stoop where people sit and eat. Now, I said to myself, did I see the person who left that? I had two hands, so I was full. But I would have moved it for one, the safety of everyone. But when the lady saw it, she said, "Why would they leave that there?" But this is why stuff like that people need is going to end up being taken away. Why? Because people like that who are part of the problem. Part of the problem. So I said, you know what? It is what it is. But I'm gonna order that long thing that has a claw on it. I'm just gonna find me some kind of way to push a little garbage can, and I'm just gonna do what little picking up, and just as my own little adventure to walk down the street, I'm just gonna pick up. I have to be a part of the solution. I cannot be a part of the problem, but I know that's going to cause wear and tear on my body and all the other stuff, but I need to get out and get a little bit of exercise. I'm just going to look and see if I can find me that little thing I saw people with a long time ago, and you just pick up the trash and just carry a little bag and just, if I can do that, it would make me feel a little better. But I kid you not, if I see someone sitting down eating a tray and I see them leave it, I'm going to go to them and ask them just one simple question. Are you without a home? Because if you don't have a home, this is why you still don't need one. And I'm just gonna, hopefully they're not the type of person that will come at me a certain type of way, because I'm standing close enough to something where I can feel a little safe. But I would have to ask, are you without a home? Because this is why you don't deserve one. I legit don't understand why people live like that. Just go in your own house and you just drop this there, and you say I'm gonna get it later, you drop this. No, honey, we can't live like that. You go to bed at night, you don't want anything all over you at night. No, no. And a lot of people don't realize how much those things duplicate. When I learned about that long time ago, because I kid you not, I lived somewhere, and at that time I was at that time I was a real Libra, but now I'm not a real Libra. No, at the time I was. This person was making it very intentional that I wasn't going to have access to the backyard. So every time they turned around, they had events and family and everything, and I was very, very rarely able to use the backyard. So I said, "Oh, they want to be playing the sandbox." So one day I saw a little crawly, and I said, "Okay." I went to Home Depot and I purchased a big bag of rodent killer. Now, in one of my rooms, now I lived on the top floor, and of course, they lived on the bottom. And I'm not gonna lie, I did it. I absolutely did it, because I said I have to see. First of all, I didn't want that crawling around my home. I didn't know where it was coming in from and where it was going out from. So I went to Home Depot, bought the big bag of pellets, and then I had a pole that come from one apartment to the next. I said, well, that's an entry hole. I dropped the whole bag on the floor, and then I took the broom and swept everything into the little opening around the pole. So one day someone came out, I got dead everywhere on my home. Well, maybe if you was out there in that backyard today, Sherry, maybe I wouldn't have time to drop that in the hole. So I just went my business. They wasn't dying upstairs with me, but they were dying down there. Well, maybe that's what selfishness gets you. So I didn't say nothing. Another time I lived somewhere, the bread was there. I saw it go up, and I went to home. My friend landlord dropped the whole thing in the hole, and oh, somebody's dropping his dead everywhere. Not my business, but I solved the problem. Now I'm like, okay, I'm going to get these. I have a lot of sockets in here, boys and girls. I can't believe they would give us a plentifulness amount of sockets like this for somewhere that the electricity is included in the rent. I wouldn't think they would do that, but I'm thankful, because I need this extension cord, and so what I'm not using, I'm sealing it up, and I'm talking plastic and duct tape. That's it. I had an inspection one time. A man said, "Miss, you have this on your socket." I said, "If it doesn't pay rent, I don't want it in here. I'm not using the socket." He said, "You know what can come through there?" He said, "Hey, that's right. So let's get proactive, boys and girls. Let's prevent some of this stuff, and get your children not to be eating chips and now laters everywhere. Leaving traces of food is going to have that in coming up in your house." So I have this here. I just replenish it and dump it into a garbage can, and then it reminds me of when it's going low. So that's why I just filled it up. Now it is a residual cost, but if I can say want a treat of something, I can treat myself to baking soda every now and then. I can slip that in. So I did that. Someone actually told me to go to a certain section of the store and you'll find it cheaper. It is definitely worth looking into. So look into these things and help yourself. I don't know if I have access to sprinkling some baking soda around in the building or whatever, but I did leave some in the garbage room and it was taken out. So it is what it is. I have to do what I have to do for me, but I'm definitely gonna get some bleach and get in behind and around. I do all of that with my little lavender and stuff, but I need the scent of get up. So I don't want that in here. These walls are made with paper and what? Probably some damn glue. You hear me? So anything want to come up in here, I would hear go behind, and I can't do that. I can't do that. But now I just heard a mouse, but I know it's just my anxiety. I just picked my feet up. 9 times out of 10, that was a little wake up bird that's always outside my window. Why does this bird just hit the glass? Boom. What is it? And what is it with them bumblebees that's whizzing by my window? Do you think I'm going to let you in here? No. No. I'm going to get a sign that says stop in bird language. Get it. Boom. Boom. What are you doing? Disturbing. But it's so cute. It's so cute because you keep hitting the window. I'm like, where are you trying to go? I know you like me, but I don't like you. I've been afraid of birds all my life. All my life. But what are you trying to get in here for? But anyway, bleach, baking soda. We have to knock this out, boys and girls. Put some bleach in your outside garbage cans. Please, please clean your garbage cans every now and then. If you have nothing to do, then you have something to do. But make it a habit because you don't want to jump out there and something jump on you. No. And inside house garbage, baking soda on a regular. Make it a part of your process, part of your routine. Make it happen so we can start working on this together to get out there. You can't believe how many times I've heard someone say that the amount of rats that jumped out the garbage can. I mean, out of the garbage truck. I don't even want to ride behind a garbage truck. Even people who have garbage trucks need to be putting baking soda in that drum or something to get that nasty out of there. Ugh. But anyway, have a wonderful day.